done a video like this. Are you surprised? I decided to come out of retirement for one more episode. This is an episode I didn't even think about I was going to be doing. But let's get right to the chase, shall we? Everybody knows I'm into Souls games. I've played Souls games for years. I've even played Souls games before I got into YouTube and stuff, hence Demon Souls and just all that jazz. Everybody knows I don't like Dark Souls 2 because it just doesn't feel like a Souls game. It feels like a parody of a Souls game. You know, my first Souls game was Demon Souls. Then I got into Dark Souls, and yes, sadly, Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne, which is considered my favorite Souls game. Dark Souls 3. I still need to finish Sekiro. One day I'll finish Sekiro. It just does not feel like a Souls game, so I don't consider it a Souls game. There was a game that was talked about a good while back, and it finally came out. Came out in late February, and it was called Elden Ring. And I thought that Elden Ring was going to be one of those interesting experiences like Dark Souls 2. Maybe even like Sekiro, where it's like, oh yeah, it's a good game, but it's probably lacking some stuff. Well, this is the reason why I came out of retirement. This game has taken an impact on me to the point where I really need to explain it. I'm going to do my best to keep it all in one part. If I have to do 2 parts, you'll understand by the title of this video. Originally, my 2 favorite Souls games were Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1/Dark Souls Remastered. Dark Souls Remastered is taking a 3rd spot now. Bloodborne is still my first favorite. It has a special place in my heart. But Elden Ring is now my 2nd favorite Souls game, and you're going to find out why. So, sit back, get your favorite drinking beverage, get your favorite snacking item. We're going to get into some interesting footage into why I believe Elden Ring is not only the friendliest Souls game, but also the hardest Souls game. But it's still considered my number 2 favorite Souls game of all time. So, let's get on into it. Alright, so first things first, we're going to talk about the character creation. So as you can see, we have these different classes here. We have Vagabond, we have Warrior, we have Hero, we have Bandit, we have Astrologer, Prophet, Samurai, Prisoner, Confessor, and Wretch. Now, out of all my years playing Souls games, from Demon Souls being my first, to my recent one being Dark Souls 3, not really counting Sekiro because they don't have character creation, this is some of the best character creation I have seen in a very, very long time. I'd have to say, I believe this has more classes to choose from than in Demon Souls, but I could be completely wrong. So first things first. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about the original Demon Souls, not the remake. I haven't really seen much on that because I don't own a PlayStation 5. But as you can see also, you can press the triangle button, and it will show you literally the status of every single one that you have here, as you can clearly see. And each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. Of course, the Wretch being level 1 and all of its stats being at level 10. But when it comes to Vagabond, you can clearly notice that the Vagabond is for possibly casual players. People that don't know what they want to do yet. Because as you can see, the strength and the dexterity are like close to the same. And your highest thing being your Vigor. Now let's say you want to be a dual wielder. That is exactly what the Warrior is. The Warrior has 16 dexterity, which is its highest stat. And yeah, you know, if you want to be a dual wielder and everything, go straight Warrior. When it comes to your strength class, you have the Hero. As you can see, strength being at 16, everything else being, of course, lower. Your highest, the second highest thing being your Vigor, which is pretty dang cool. I haven't played with a hero yet, so, you know, if you want to go pure strength with something and test yourself and challenge yourself, I'd suggest going hero. And there's the Bandit. The Bandit, of course, being like other Souls games, is a bleed build. And yeah, as you can see, its highest stat is Arcane, but its second highest stat is Dexterity. Those two work together when it comes to the Bandit. Like I said, you start off with a knife, has blood damage. Yeah, if you want to do some bleed damage and you want to do some quick stuff, then go Bandit. Astrologer, it's pure, and you know, sorcerer, mage. You could do that if you want to, because as you can see, its highest stat is 16 for intelligence. Its second being mind, because, well, if you're going to cast spells of certain kinds, you got to have mind so you can cast numerous ones. Prophet, that's basically your faith class. As you can see, its highest stat is 16 for faith. And of course, its second highest being the mind, because as I said when it came to the astrologer, you need to be able to pump out those spells, and if you don't have a high mind, you ain't pumping out nothing. Now the samurai, this is where things get a little interesting, because you have what I would consider one of the best starting weapons in the game, which is the Uji Katana. And well, as you can see, you only get one Uji Katana. You also get a bow as your secondary weapon, but keep in mind that both the Uji Katana and the bow are both dexterity weapons, so your highest stat is dexterity at 15. Everything else is like, you know, in different spots, things of that nature, but you can kind of tell that the Uji Katana is a bleed weapon, so 9 times out of 10, if you're going to do a bleed build, starting off with the samurai, I would suggest, you know, pumping up that dexterity and pumping up that arcane, because arcane scales with bleed and different types of status effects. One of my favorite classes is the prisoner. I started off as the prisoner in my first playthrough. As you can see, its stats are very interesting. Its highest stats are actually both dexterity and intelligence. Now, a thing to know about dexterity and intelligence, they kind of work side by side, because I believe it is, if you get your dexterity to 30, your casting speed goes up a little bit when it comes to intelligence spells. It was like that in Dark Souls. I felt a difference when I was boosting up my dexterity with the prisoner. I like it. It has one of the coolest headwears in the game, in my opinion. I just like it. It has really, really good defense. The prisoner helmet, as I would call it. It's pretty cool. Basically, this is if you wanted to literally go mage, because the astrologer is for people that want to mostly focus on, you know, being like a sorcerer. You could also turn into a mage, but it would take a little bit of time. But with the prisoner, as you can clearly see, the dexterity and the intelligence, they're equaled out. So, you know, I would honestly think mage when it comes to prisoner. And that's exactly what I did when it came to my first playthrough as the prisoner. I went the mage route. I basically got my boy to 80 intelligence and started getting up my dexterity a little. It was pretty fun. Now the confessor is a little different than the prophet, because as you can see, the prophet is 16 faith and its secondary strongest stat being mind. Then there's the confessor, where its faith is a little bit lower and its mind is a little bit lower, but then you notice that the strength and dexterity are exactly the same when it comes to the confessor. When it comes to the confessor, I honestly would think of a paladin in terms of this build. Now, the thing is, you start off with a really, really good heater type shield, which gives you 100% physical absorption. So you'll be bouncing off physical attacks really, really good. And of course, you start off with the broadsword. The broadsword is a very fun weapon to use. However, this game's version of the broadsword is a little bit shorter than my favorite version, which is in Dark Souls 3. It's a little bit longer, but this one's not that bad. So if you want to do a type of paladin, then I would suggest going confessor. The rich, also known as the deprived in terms of the Dark Souls games. The rich is mostly for people that want to challenge themselves, or people that don't know what they want to literally make. Now the thing with the rich is they don't have a lot of stuff. You only have a club, and that's it. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't even have any clothes. You're completely naked. So, yeah, be it as it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on into the story. Is it any different than Dark Souls? Is it any different than Bloodborne, Sekiro? Well, you'll be the judge. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a nutshell version of the story. If you want to look for a deeper version of the story, well, sooner or later, YouTuber Vati Video will probably have one for you to watch. But until then, this is basically a nutshell version of the story before you are put into the picture. And there will be some spoilers in this, so if you have not played Elden Ring, or haven't at least gotten to the end of the game, I would click off this video right now, because I'm going to get into a little bit of some deep stuff that I've gotten from item descriptions to literally what the game tells you right then and there, that sometimes people will listen to, but sometimes people won't listen to. So, let's go ahead and get into the story here of this game. And as you can see, I'm in a spot in the game where there are no spoilers or nothing. We're right beside this nice, beautiful golden tree right here. So, let's talk about the story. So, keep this in mind. There's one person that is split into two. Marika had a male half by the name of Radagon. The exact nature of their relationship is unclear, but while the two had separate bodies and wills, they were, in truth, one and the same. Achieving godhood as the vessel of Elden Ring, Marika took a consort, Godfrey, who thus became the first Elden Lord. They had 3 children: Godwyn the Golden, the first demigod to die, and is that HP Lovecraftian looking thing that's spreading all under the underground roots of the lands between. Then there's Morgoth, and then there's Moog. Radagon met a woman named Renala. They got married, and they would have 3 children. They would have Radahn, Rykard, and Ranni. Ranni sends assassins to kill Godwyn. His soul dies, but his body becomes, well, you know, what I just explained right before. She would kill herself, but her soul would remain. Rykard would soon lose his way. He allowed himself to be devoured by a giant snake at Mount Gelmir. Radahn would study sorcery and grow in size. Marika would leave Godfrey. Radagon would leave Renala. And Radagon would be summoned back to Queen Marika's side. Radagon would be summoned back to Queen Marika's side and would go on to have twins. Yeah, 2 kids, Melina and Miquella. Since Radagon and Marika were in truth a single being at one point, their children would be born cursed. Melina, affected by scarlet rot, and Miquella would be cursed with eternal childhood. Melina would fight Radagon, and he would die / become a quote-unquote zombie to scarlet rot. Melina would barely survive, but escape after the battle. Miquella would be kidnapped by Moog. While married to Marika, Radagon studied incantations. Marika eventually grew disillusioned with the greater will and sought freedom from its influence. Radagon, on the other hand, was more into the loyal part of the outer god. Their conflict would eventually come to a head when Marika would shatter the Elden Ring. Radagon would try to repair it. No luck. The shattering angered the greater will, and Radagon shared Marika's sentence, with the two once fused into a single body and imprisoned beneath the Erd Tree. The Erd Tree being the giant golden tree that you see throughout the whole area of the land between. So, that's in a nutshell the story. If you want to look more into deeper stuff, either go and read a lot of item descriptions and fight a lot of bosses, and read their item descriptions of their equipment and armor and weapons, or you can go onto YouTube and go look up a Vati video. But this is specifically for people that wanted a nutshell story of what went on before the events of you basically being summoned to possibly one day become Elden Lord. Alright, so let's get into some really cool game mechanics. Alright, so first off, on the top left of your screen you will see a red bar, a blue bar, and a green bar. The red bar is your health. The blue bar is your magic / FP / mana, and your green bar is your stamina. You'll notice you don't take any stamina lessage when running or rolling. Simply the reason for that is they changed it to where you only take endurance when you are in battle. So yeah, there was that. So under the green bar are status effects. Those status effects are either from items, talismans, or possibly stuff that's going on in the environment. And then down below, on the bottom left of your screen, is your minor hotbar. As you can see, you have the Flask of Crimson Tears, which is basically your health flask that you drink when you lose health. I have another flask here in my inventory that I don't really use for this character, and it is called the Flask of Cerulean Tears. The Flask of Cerulean Tears basically helps you gain back magic. So there's that. Also, you can jump, which is really, really cool. That's a really big step in Souls games, because it was until Sekiro where technically you could do an idle jump. In terms of Souls games, you would have to literally do a run and then press your jump button. Well, your jump button for Souls games was either R3 for Dark Souls 3, or the actual same button that you use to run, which would be circle for PlayStation. So, the next thing to know is control schemes. Now, not many people know this here, so I'm going to let you guys know of this real quick. Okay, we're going to go into the systems here. We're going to go to controls. Now, here's the funny part. Not many people know, and I've seen this in a lot of live streams on Twitch and YouTube, that you can change your button settings. So let's say you don't want your jump button to be X, for example, because I believe it's X as your default. You can change it to be triangle. I specifically recommend changing it to triangle, and having your action button, well, be X. As you can see, action button is X. So there's that. So, we're going to look around a little bit as well. We're going to bring back this elevator. As you can see, I use my action button to pull the elevator and everything. So I'm going to explain some minor little things here. Keep in mind, I'm not going to spoil anything in terms of bosses that you'll run into, or any really big story spoilers. Now keep in mind, I did talk about the story before you are put into this game. And yes, it did have a few spoilers in it, but keep this in mind. Those are events before you start the game. I will not do any spoilers for the current story that you are facing as you go up this elevator. I'll show you a couple little things here to keep yourselves intact. But I will say a few non-spoiler things about bosses in this game. You can definitely tell that possibly two different companies, well, teams, we'll call them teams. Two different teams worked on this game. It's not confirmed, but a lot of people that have played this game can definitely tell that there's a difference between main progression bosses, side bosses, and optional bosses. Those are the 3 different types of bosses that you will run into in this game. Okay. Welcome to Limgrave. This is Limgrave. This is the first thing you see when you leave from down there. That is the Erd Tree. The Erd Tree is a giant golden tree that basically shows you where you technically need to end up by the end of the game. Now, people that have played Dark Souls Remastered will probably feel a very similar feeling of when you first get to the Firelink Shrine to literally walking out here to Limgrave. Now, a regular player would be like, oh, you know, look at all the shadings, look at all the trees, you know, oh shit, there's a giant dude in a horse right there, and there's a golden thing that you can walk up to, which is basically your equivalent of a bonfire. Now, I'm going to show you the different look that a Souls person would see when they, you know, play this game and such, okay? Are you ready? You can see every single place that you will end up going to in this game in the future by merely just standing here. Every single place that you can see, you will end up going there. And that is something that you notice in Dark Souls Remastered. You don't exactly see it a lot in Dark Souls 3, but you notice it a lot in Dark Souls Remastered. And they brought that back for Elden Ring. And I do find that very, very cool, because there's a similarity between Elden Ring and Dark Souls Remastered. And I'm going to tell you what that similarity is. Your path is whatever you want it to be. Versus Dark Souls 3 and a little bit in Dark Souls 2, where you're given a linear path that you must follow and stuff. You can't really veer off that path, except for maybe a couple places. But in Dark Souls Remastered, your beginning is whatever you want it to be. And this is an open world game versus Dark Souls Remastered, where it was a solid game, as I call it. So you'll notice there's a big guy right there and a horse. Alright? Now keep in mind what I said. There is 3 different types of bosses. There's main bosses, there's side bosses, and then there's optional bosses. This would be considered an optional boss. You don't have to fight this motherfucker. You don't gotta fight him at all. You can merely run away from him. And when it comes to optional bosses in this game, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's optional. You don't have to fight them. While if you're taking this on the approach of a Dark Souls game, you'll be like, oh, I have to fight him. I have to win. No, that is something that you need to get completely out of your head when you're playing Elden Ring. Okay? You don't have to fight that guy. But sooner or later, when you get stronger, you're going to want to get some revenge. And you're going to go and whoop his butt. So, first off, you know, this is called a grace. You activate it, you sit at it, and basically, yeah. This is possibly going to be similar to the screen that you see when you first sit at it. Keep in mind, I say possibly. You'll understand when you play. Also, you'll notice there's a lot of stuff that you can pick up in terms of in the grassy areas, stuff like that. Acquire materials. There is crafting in this game. I'm going to show you where to go to start your crafting. Because let me tell you, there's people that play this game that don't even know that they can start crafting right then and there. So, we're going to drop down here. And we're merely going to take a little stroll. We're not going to bother that guy. And yes, there are animals. 9 times out of 10, they'll run away from you. If they don't, they'll go for you. They won't really do a lot of damage to you. They'll probably just knock you off your feet, you know. But it's not a big deal. But we're gonna go right over here to this broken castle over here. I'll try not to bother that guy. And we're just gonna walk right over here. But before you even interact with this guy, you'll see a grace. You'll activate the grace, and I would recommend sitting at the grace. Let me tell you why. Activating the grace and sitting at the grace both activate a checkpoint. If you get to the grace, but you don't activate it, and or you don't sit at it, you're going to go back to the last grace you were at. So there's that. This is a merchant. This one in particular has a name. His name is Kale. He sells you stuff. He will sell you a crafting kit. Buy the crafting kit. I'm going to say it to you right now. This is the only thing that is not optional in this game. Buy the crafting kit. It will save your ass on occasions. Trust me. And it's not even that expensive. You could go kill a few small little enemies and you would be able to get this crafting kit. So get the crafting kit from Kale. Now, here's the thing. There's many other merchants in this game. They all wear different color garbs. They all have different stuff. Whatever you want to buy from them is whatever you want to buy from them. It is what it is. Simply enough. Alright? So we're gonna keep walking around here a little bit. We're just gonna keep walking around. Okay? We're gonna jump on these rocks and stuff. We're gonna continue to look around and notice all the beautiful colors, all the trees, and the beautiful sky, and the giant Erd tree that is looking down at you intimidatingly. You'll notice this right here. Now for me, it's probably not going to activate, but for you, it will. Well, it does. Okay. Well, this one in particular, it does activate. This thing basically will send you to what is called a side dungeon. Now keep in mind what I said before. There's 3 different types of bosses in this game. There's main bosses, there's side bosses, and there's optional bosses. Okay? Now, keep in mind, main bosses are exactly what they sound like. They give you main progression in the game and the story. Alright? Alright. Now, side bosses are also considered optional bosses as well. But keep this in mind. You're not going to get through the game by merely just main progression. You're going to have to do some side stuff as well, unless you're a speedrunner and use glitches. But I'm not a speedrunner that uses glitches or anything like that. Okay? So, you notice that thing was lighting up over here. Now what could possibly be over here? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm using a character that hasn't really done much in the game, just so I can show you some ins and outs of this whole thing. So the first thing you're going to find out is, oh, there's a cave here. Oh my gosh. Let's open the door, shall we? Stormfoot Catacombs. Now the first thing you notice, the music changes. The atmosphere changes. Everything has completely changed for you. It's dark, it's lit up, there's even a grace that you can activate here. But we're not going to explore this place. This is going to be for you to explore with your own character and find out what is here. But side places like this will help you gain some levels, some runes, also known as souls, to help you level up, and possibly some more really nice goodies. So keep that in mind as well. And now that we come back out here, everything goes back to normal. It's crazy, isn't it? There's even nice music to play while you're out. There's little enemies that you can fuck with if you want to fuck with them. and things of that nature. It's rather nice, if I say so myself. It was one of the first things that made me really fall in love with Elden Ring, was the atmosphere. The atmosphere itself, it gives off a gentle vibe, but then when you see some of the enemies, it lets you know that you're not safe in this world. Unless you get, you know, higher up in level, then you'll be somewhat safe. We're gonna go around this way. And you'll be like, oh shoot, there's an enemy right there. Well, the thing is, you can go fight that enemy, or you can press your L3 button and just sneak around. Now keep in mind, sneaking around in the open doesn't always guarantee that you will not be seen. Sneak around in the bushes. Kind of like those old school cancerous Fortnite players that would always, you know, be hiding in bushes and stuff. But we're not going to hide for right now. That's a turtle. Elden Ring people call them dogs. You'll understand it in due time if you immerse yourself in the game. Alright, you'll notice there's some other enemies out here. We're going to sneak around. We're not going to fight them. If you want to fight them, it's completely up to you. But for this, I'm going to sneak around just so I can show you some stuff. And take my tips to heart. If you don't want to do what I'm doing, it's entirely up to you. It's your playthrough. You bought the game. You play however you want to play. But take what I'm telling you with at least a grain of salt. It might help you one day. And look what we found. We found another side cave. Now keep in mind, we just technically would have started the game. You know? And we've already found 2 side caves that we can use to grind levels. Also, when you see one of these, automatically activate it. No matter if you're playing offline or online. If you play it offline, you activate it. It's kind of like a way of you putting in your mind, okay, I've been here, so maybe I've explored it, maybe I haven't. Or you could just look at your status bar below your green bar on the top left. If you see that little door with the X on the right side of it, that means that you have not explored this place. Plus, you can't fast travel from this location. And yes, there is fast travel. I'll get to talking about that in a minute. But for right now, we're gonna leave here. We're gonna sneak around again. We're gonna do this and hope and pray that guy doesn't see us. Well, we may have to do a little jump across that rock there, but we're okay. Good. See, there's a guy patrolling right there. Just watch. He got a small glimpse of us, but because we got into that bush in time, he didn't fully see us. So we got lucky there. Even that guy saw us a little bit. That's okay, we're good. We're perfectly fine. Now, if you want to creep around faster, just press your circle button. You'll creep around a little bit faster. Also, another thing they added is while in crouch mode, you can do rolling crouches, which is very handy. Very, very cool. And look, it's another grace. So automatically, we found a good amount of graces. So this is kind of like the game being like, okay, maybe I'm going the right way. Maybe I'm doing something right. Also, another small little tip. See this little glowing skull right here? Crouch, roll into it. Look, a free item. And it's a golden rune. Those things stack. Runes basically are your way of gaining levels. That is what it is. Okay? Now, this is an area you'll be in for a good while if you want to take your time playing this game. Of course, you can explore and do whatever. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is a place you'll probably be in for a good while. I recommend grinding levels here when you're given the ability to level up. It's very handy. It's very nice. Especially if you start off as a level 1. This character is a level 1. Okay, so let me pull out my little side weapon here. I'll show you a few little things. We'll just use this broadsword. That's perfectly fine. We'll use the broadsword. So, you notice I'm still in crouch mode. Be very careful. If you can get behind this guy, bump backs with him, then activate your your left thumbstick or L3, and press your R1 button. You will do a back step. Go back into crouch mode. It'll be handy. Okay. Now I'm doing this in my particular order. This is how I go through this area if I want to make some levels. So we took care of that first guy. We're still crouched. We're going to be right over here. We're going to crouch walk into his back while using our our L3 button. We're not going to press the L3 button. We're using the left thumbstick to move. But right when you hit his back and you're walking into his back, press the R1 button. Backstab. Now this guy saw us. I'll show you a little trick. Wait until he's running towards you. Do that. Stance break. R1 right at that stance break. There you go. You did that. And look, we got some of his armor and we got some bolts. So yeah. Now keep in mind, I'm back in crouch mode. We're going to go right over here. Look, there's a dude with a spear and a giant great shield. We're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're crouched. We're going to walk into him just like this. And then when you're right here behind him, press R1, backstab. Now sometimes your backstab will not instantly kill them. If it doesn't, just fucking hit him again. You'll be fine. We'll pick that up because the item was there. Now, there is one enemy that is here with these guys in particular. And they have a giant horn. If you look carefully, you can see this guy right in front of me. He has a giant horn in his hand with his gold shield. You want to kill him. If you don't, he will use his horn and he will call every single enemy in this area to come and get you. I'm going to show you how to take him out though. So we're crouched. Hold on. Give it a minute. His AI is having some issues. Alright, we're good. So we're crouched. Go into the bush a little bit there. Go up to him. R1 on back. Sometimes the AIs like to act up like that. It's perfectly fine. If the AIs ever act up like that, go back into your bush and hope that they don't come for you. 9 times out of 10 they won't, as long as you're very quick about it. So you see this guy right here? We're going to go take him out. R1. We're going to go back into our little bush right over here this time. Now this little totem right here that we're in front of will usually have something purple shining on it, okay? That will give you a map fragment. I will show you the map in just a little while. I'm just showing you how effective the crouch really is. Take this guy out very carefully onto the back and then R1. Crouch again, pressing your L3 button. We're in a bush. There's this guy right here in a torch. We'll be able to take him out. As long as he's facing away from you, the AI will not notice you. Onto the back, R1. Okay, now I'm going to show you the map real quick. So, we go into a bush here in case something happens. you're going to press your giant middle button on your controller. You're going to specifically press that middle button. This is your map. This is a new thing in, like, all freaking Souls games. There was never a map. You have a map now. Every time when you get a map fragment from those totems that I showed you there, you'll end up bringing out a new fragment of your map. But you'll notice some parts are grayed out or not even explored, like this cloudy area here. That means you gotta find the fragment so you can see what all is there. Also, you'll notice something else. Look in the top middle of your screen. You have a compass. That is also a new thing that has debuted in this game. You never had a compass in Souls games, so keep that in mind. Okay. And I'll take out one more enemy, and then we'll get to talking about a few other things. So, keep in mind, I'm crouched. I'm using the bushes. This guy has a spear and a great shield. You do not want to deal with that guy. So, you're going to be careful. You're going to be right there on his back. Walk forward, R1. Simple enough. Now, you'll also notice on the middle left of my screen, there is a blue gate looking icon and a thing that says square off. Well, first off, all weapons have skills. Okay? If you've played Dark Souls 3, you would know that weapons have skills. This one is called square off. Okay? So, basically, you do L2, and then you press R2. That is square off. That is your, that's your skill. Yeah. Now also, you can two-hand in this game. Two-handing is a little bit different though. Basically, you press your X button, you'll bring that up, press your R2. You are now two-handing. Now keep in mind, I still have square off because I didn't have anything in my other hand. So, yeah. You can also open this. I kept this closed just for this little tutorial I'm giving you. You're going to get a new weapon that has not been in any other Souls game. This is a flail. Flails are okay. They can be pretty fun. They take a lot of practice. But when you know how to do it, they're pretty fun to use. Now you'll notice also on the bottom right of my screen is a little counter right there. If you've played Souls games before, you end up getting quote-unquote currency called souls. You can use souls for different things. You can use souls to level up when you have enough, and you can use souls to buy stuff from merchants. Now in this game, they're called runes. But if you've been a long-time Souls player like I have, you'll make the mistake of calling them souls. But they're called runes. So yeah, that's basically that. So let's go back to the map, and I'm going to show you something else, and then we'll end talking about this here. Now, when it comes to fast traveling, you can only fast travel to a grace that you have activated and sat at. But here's the funny part about it, and this took me a little while to learn as I played more of the game on my first playthrough. You can fast travel anytime you want, anywhere you want, as long as A, you're not in any battle, and B, you're not in a place where you can't fast travel. Allow me to explain. We're going to go to the Stormfoot Catacombs. Okay. I'm going to show you real quick. So we're going to let this load in and stuff. I'll show you some of these little tips here. You know, while we're waiting on the little thing to load us in. There you go. There's some free tips from yours truly. Alright, so you notice under our green bar, remember the little doorway with the X on it? Now let's say I wanted to fast travel. Okay. Look, if you zoom in, you'll notice a line marking out all of your fast travel locations. The reason for that is if you're in a catacomb side dungeon or side place and you haven't fully explored it or fought the boss, well, it's mostly when you haven't defeated the boss, you cannot fast travel while sitting inside of that dungeon. Now, there is a quick way to fix that, though. If you merely just stand outside, everything is back to normal. You can fast travel anywhere you want. Like I said, as long as it's a grace that you have explored. I do want to talk about one small thing before I end talking about this for you. Okay. Now, as you play the game, like I said, you will notice that it feels like two different teams from FromSoft worked on this game. It'll feel like one set of people worked on the main progression stuff, and another side of people worked on the side stuff. You'll notice it if you've played other Souls games. It's like the difference between Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls 2 Scholar, the first set. Alright? I want to explain a few things I don't like about the game. And then we'll cut to what happens next. Okay? So, you will notice there's quite a few copy-paste bosses in this game. That's what makes me feel like the FromSoft B team worked on some of this game. Because there was a lot of copy-paste bosses and gimmick bosses in Dark Souls 2. That has come into Elden Ring. It's a bit bad, but it's a bit good at the same time. It's not main progression stuff versus it in Dark Souls 2 where it was. So, if you don't like copy-paste side bosses, you can avoid that altogether. There are some bosses that also in this game gave me some issues. I will not tell you those bosses, but you'll probably notice them when you get to them. I'll give a small hint, though, for you to keep in your brain when you play this, but I will not tell you the boss's names. One of them is a copy-paste boss. One of them is, yes. Another one is a boss where, yes, you can fight it singly, but you must use summons to fight the boss regularly. You'll notice that in due time. Also, there'll be one boss that rolls around a lot. That will get on your nerves. But, aside from that, I think you will do just fine in the game. Just take your time. Just take your time. Literally, about 85%, well, more like 80% of this whole game is yours. All you have to do is just unlock the areas and take your time. Now, yes, there will be some enemies that will get on your freaking nerves. Okay? They will make you feel weak. They will intimidate you, and they will assert your dominance on you. But keep this in mind. If you take your time, you explore, you find cool items, you make a nice little build that you're comfortable with, and you level up. You'll find places in this game where you can fight the same enemies walking around, and you'll gain a lot of runes to level up. You will find a few areas that will help you gain a lot of runes. You just gotta find them. That's all it is, really. You just gotta find them. Now, most other reviews of this game would talk deep into areas that you unlock and how you would deal with them. I am literally not going to spoil that for you. I want you all watching this to experience this for yourself. Like I said, you will feel like you're not ready to be in certain areas. But that's the way the game likes to trick you. You can explore as much of this world as you want. You can even find late game items that will make you extremely strong in early game stuff. You just gotta find them, you just gotta level up toward them, and adapt. That's all you have to do. As I said in the beginning of this review, I said that Elden Ring was not only the friendliest Souls game, but it's also the hardest. Yes, there will be parts of this game where you will have to think differently on how you fight certain bosses. You'll have to. And also in this game, you'll find some side stuff that can help you in this game. Some new mechanics, as you will. They're called Spirit Ashes. I'm not going to show them to you, because I want you to find them for yourself. But there are people that will play with Spirit Ashes. There'll be people that won't play with Spirit Ashes. They'll attack Elden Ring like it's Dark Souls. If you attack this game like it's Dark Souls, you will have a lot of trouble. Only use Spirit Ashes if you want to challenge yourself. If you want to make this game harder than it already is, then don't use Spirit Ashes. Spirit Ashes are one of the mechanics added to this game that makes it more friendly. It's a way for you to have some help if you don't want to rely on an online player. Because there are people out there that don't want any help from online players. Because it takes away from the boss experience. Spirit Ashes kind of do as well, but not in the way that you would think. Now, another thing that makes this game friendlier than any other Souls game is you have 80% of this whole game in front of you. You just gotta find the map fragments, explore, learn, adapt. Maybe you'll find some nice late game things to give to your character to make you be able to fight a boss that you're having issues with. Don't close your mind to the limitations of Dark Souls. Take the limitations of Dark Souls that you've learned with you into Elden Ring, but keep an open mind when playing Elden Ring. I've heard some people claim that Elden Ring is the best Souls game of all time. I've heard this from people that don't like Souls games. I would have to agree. But it's up for you to decide. Will you make this game hard for yourself? Will it be easy for you? Will you adapt to it? Will you immerse yourself? That will be up for you to decide, viewer. So, let's get to the ending of everything and do some final conclusions.
So automatically, as people know, Bloodborne is what I would consider the perfect Souls game. It's my 10 out of 10 game. I go to it when I want to stream something and I don't know what I want to stream, or I stream it when I feel like hunting some beasts. Sometimes I play it on my own free time when I'm having a really stressful day. I'll just go out and I'll just play some Bloodborne. Sometimes I'll find some of my friends and have them tag along with me. You know, that's usually how it is. But also Elden Ring has kind of made me do similar to that as well. Which sadly is something Dark Souls Remastered never really made me do as much. Where usually Dark Souls Remastered, I either streamed it or I played it with friends. But I never really used it for stress relief like I did with Bloodborne. Elden Ring actually gives me some stress relief. It gives me something alternately to think about when I'm having a bad day. When it comes to Elden Ring, it's not a perfect Souls game, but it takes all the good aspects out of every game From Software has ever made with the Souls formula, like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, even Sekiro. They gave us the jump mechanic from Sekiro and the sneak thing from Sekiro. That's really good. They even gave us the stance breaking from Sekiro, but they kind of changed it a little bit. So, if Bloodborne is my 10 out of 10 Souls game, where's that put Dark Souls Remastered on my list? Where's that put Elden Ring on my list? Well, I already said in the beginning of the video that Elden Ring is my number 2 Souls game now. Dark Souls Remastered has now taken the 3rd slot. So, if I was going to give Dark Souls Remastered a rating, I'd have to probably say it's that 8.5 game. So, if Bloodborne is a 10 out of 10, then Dark Souls Remastered is an 8.5. Where's that put Elden Ring? I'm putting Elden Ring at 9.5. Why am I putting Elden Ring at 9.5? It's basically just has taken every good thing from Souls titles, put it into a game, and added more mechanics to it. When you do side stuff, yeah, it's going to be challenging, but it's going to give you enough get good to be able to do some main progression. Yes, there's some copy-paste bosses in terms of the side dungeons and other parts of the game, but in the end, if you get good in your own way, you'll be able to accomplish it either by yourself or with summons, which I actually recommend using Ash summons. When it comes to your first playthrough, take the time that you need, explore first before getting into any main battles, but find some Ash summons along the way that click with you. Upgrade them. Learn with them. And play offline. Play offline, but use Ash summons. That's how the game's supposed to be played. It's fun that way. And if you want a little bit of an extra challenge, play it the Dark Souls way, where no summons of any kind, and just get in there either dual wielding, two-handing, or going in there with some intelligence and stuff, man, because it's a fun experience no matter how you take it. So, Elden Ring, 9.5 out of 10. I'm going to have to give it to you right there. So, thank you so much for watching this video. It's taken me a while to make it. I mostly did a lot of this by myself because this was a video I wanted to do. Will there be another special Onyx The Gaming Machine episode? I'm not sure. I came out of retirement just to explain Elden Ring because it is one of the most amazing Souls games I've ever played. So, as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm your Friendliest Gaming Machine, and until the next video or live stream, peace out. Happy gaming, my friends. Please stay safe.